Hey there, Cancer. This is Joy with Joy of the World, here to take an intuitive peek into the energies going on around you. Friends and subscribers, welcome back. And if you're new to this channel, click that subscribe button out there for me. Also, give it a big thumbs up, like, and share. And be sure to comment down below. To those of you who've given donations into the channel, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It brought back these decks that I've combined to be the Moon Magic Medicine. All right, it may be showing up in your reading. I don't know. I'm not forcing them. I've begun to work them together and give them time to sit in space, and they speak when they are ready, which you are definitely ready to do. In the splits, the High Priestess was coming out, and then you stopped me at the Seven of Cups coming in. You said, I already know. Boom, here we go. And then two cards shot out face down. Haven't even looked at them. And then I pulled the top and the bottom of the deck to clarify. So let's jump on in since you are hot and ready. All right, Cancer. So first we have the Hermit. This is you head and shoulders above the rest. You are sitting on top of the world, and this is definitely in your mind. But what I see is an imaginary shelf up above you. You've kind of scooched back into a cubby hole. Even though it looks like the world is wide open above you, I am seeing that cubby hole, that cap going on up above you, that here you could tread the path traditionally, and we see it. You've done that several times. Now you've risen up, but not high enough. Not high enough that you can move about freely. This is what you're telling me. This is not my opinion. You're saying you haven't moved high enough that you can move about freely because you didn't know you were caught under this little awning. It's almost like when somebody wants to see far away and they do this kind of thing and they're trying to look. It's like you were trying to get a deeper look, but you're telling me that is over. You said, I'm through looking here. I've already decided I know what I want. All right. So I feel like that cap, when I talked about the top and the bottom, is going to be the bottom of the deck. Because the bottom showed up and you slapped it back down. You said, we are done with that. And I'm like, what? Hang on now. You said, go get that top card and then you can get the bottom card. So this is what was underneath the surface. What you were dealing with is, negative opinions of yourself, seeing yourself through the eyes of others, listening to the noise. This is a lot of distractions that have been going on around you. A lot of hemming and hawing and vacillating and wondering, okay, pause in, hang on. Due to some old mental entrapment, Cancer. As you can see, it was barely holding on by a thread, but it made you feel as if you were barely holding on by a thread, and you were just done with that because you began to look up and to seek your truth. Can you see this? You began to seek the greater truth, the whole big picture, looking past this world, looking past perception, and seeking what it is that makes you the individual that you are, not the muddied down conglomeration of something. You want to know your individuation of your parts, of the specifics, and how you operate, kind of like, the notes on a piano, right? Working them all together to make a beautiful song, but you don't just mash down on them. Where before this, it just mashed and mushed you up and made you a muddy mess. And you're like, I am done with that. I am so much more, because you can see the energy that was going on around you. So it's almost like what had happened if you withdrawing and retreating into this cubbyhole, where here you were levitating and elevating and moving on up, but it was being stolen and robbed from you by this false perspective. Okay, by the mind's eye of those around you, and not just the humans, but the energy going on around you in our modern generation, the modern mindsets, those type of things. And part of being radical can also be being basic, being very foundational, that type of energy. And it can seem archaic or whatever, but I mean, life is built upon our bones, right? So let's go with that foundation structure and begin to get into this accelerated growth, this elevation, this levitation you have going on here. But there's a little bit off in the shadows that I want to seek and I want to dig out. So let's get a peek at that. I see something illuminating over here. So give me just a second. We're going to grab an oracle on it first, and then we'll get a little more tarot, okay? So let's get something on these shadows that's going on with this Hermit card. What got Cancer capped? What has you retreated back in order to look ahead but withdrawn at the same time? 19. returning to self, rest and rejuvenation, regaining that self perspective, not just this muddied brown, because even though we see it here of you being bound and tethered by these little things, these little strings getting you all caught up, it was also when you look here, when you mix all the colors together, they become brown. So it had just become like this amalgam mix that was no longer effective, and had lost. It would be like if you always got all the ingredients and you could only make cake, only make cake, only make cake. No more making bread and cookies and biscuits and other things that you enjoy. It had just gotten in a rut and beyond a routine. Okay? Like a predisposed action. And you're like, I'm ready for some choice and I know what I want. I know what I've picked it. I'm ready to move on past this. That was your first decision. So here it's that rest and rejuvenation, regaining your spirit, allowing it to return and be restored to you, allowing you to return to yourself and see what is added onto you, okay? So you're looking for some growth there, you're letting me know. Adding onto you. We're going to get a rune on that. Let's find out what that adding is. What is being added on to Cancer here? And this rest and rejuvenation, this restoring and returning to self. The truth of oneself, the colorful, delightful beauty of who you are. No shame in your game, right? Okay. There you are. Thank you. Thank you. Was it 1 or was it 2? That was 2. I thought so. Okay, first one is constraint. And that's aligning with the first card. I mean, I could just almost just hold the picture up, right? So it's just confirmation of confirmation, meaning you know that you know. Trust your gut. Cancer. So shadow, deception, denial, setbacks, mend, rectification, and perseverance. So this perseverance to me seems more like a determination, not having to go through this binding, this suffering anymore, because perseverance is often strongly associated with that, and these setbacks and this waiting and the denial and being held, and realizing that you don't have to wait anymore. You don't have to wait for the world to catch up with who you are and your giftings and abilities of what you're able to perceive without having to retract and retreat and take that squinty-eyed look. All you do, I mean, look at yourself. You open up your divine heart, the light shines, and you're like, I see what I want over there. Zoom. You know, it's just you levitate. You're like a human helicopter, right? Zipping about like that. So no more of this. And you're like, I am so tired of that. I am so tired of being basic. Not of the basics, but never having anything fruitful built upon that foundation, right? So that's the mending that is necessary is what you were calling for here, is the mending of the mind to recognize that you are anything but basic. All right, that is what is here, that structure and that foundation, in order, remember, for you to now grow and advance, not just accelerate, okay, not just levitate, but to be able to, like hovercraft, zoom, zoom, move forward, right? So, okay, so one more card came in with it, and it is the unknown, the Odin, the father, the origin, the plasma, and it says, dream, imagine, all is possible. So what do you want to happen? What do you want to see in your life? What have you dreamt and you've kept inside, like shh, almost like a secret, just kind of percolating around in there? Like, you could often call them fantasies, because that's something that we don't readily share with others. It's something that we nurture and almost kind of reserve inside for that rainy day to pull out and to think about, that sort of thing, or maybe when we're going to bed at night. You have some fantasies here. Do you want to look at them? Cancer? Let's take a look. Let's find out a bit about what you've been fantasizing about, Cancer. What is that fantasy? What do you want to draw and bring forward? I see those, but let's be clear. This is a place where you're safe to do that. It's reiterating of that rest. Really having to take a break from it being so hard, and this is more like calling in the other. You know, those who will come along, that you're not the one in the relationship doing all the work, paying all the price, bearing the burden, doing the spiritual growth. Holding your breath is really what you're showing me, almost like your chest puffing out of, there aren't words for it. You're a peak experience. So, you know, trying to get down and be around here when you're this kind of person. That's what the holding breath is having to be down here when you're this kind of person. Okay? All right. So let's see if you want to tell us anything else about that. We have another one of these. We're going to take a peek over here, okay? I got to go with what's shining because that's where you're calling me. All right, here it already is. Healer of the ages. All right, so it's a big spiritual divine call. This dream, this imagine, this possible is like you wanting to dive into the deep, to go into the unknown and to pursue it. Having a strong spiritual guide and a spiritual guise in yourself. A knowing and a pursuit that is kind of like chipping away. Hang on, y'all. Chipping away inside of you is something that almost like wanting your mind to meld with the magical miracle powers, wanting to see people healed, that it shouldn't have to be so hard and so effort-based, that we shouldn't have to be chasing and pursuing things that are inherently and innately us when we come into this life. I like that. I really like that, Cancer. So coming in beside the Hermit, like that, okay, we have the Four of Wands coming in, another card of balance. Another card, that stability, and you're talking about this foundational, this basis that you have now to be built upon, of knowing that you're not this mud, you're not common, you're quite uncommon, and not, we're all born unique, right? But the common has to do with that mindset, that bound up mindset of being relegated to a life that's just following, not leading. And you know you're more than that because your heart will not go silent. It will not, it's saying shut up. It will not grow silent. Matter of fact, even when you manage to hush it off, the light just begins to emanate even more and become a louder and louder voice. So much so that now you ringing the bell, you shaking the tambourine, you dancing all about, you got flags flying, you got torches blowing. I don't even know what else all you've got going on, calling in this majesty and magnificence. So you're awakening raw, essential creative power is what I see happening here. This power, not even just that, but the fullness of the imagination, that plasma energy, the generational power. Y'all walk me right into that. I love it. I love it. Generational power, fantastic. I like to hear it like that, and boom, boom, up above it, the High Priestess. And you're like, yep, 2 snaps, I'm calling it on in. Can't you see the work has already begun? Because look, can you see? It's like that energy, right? You're like, you're sending out call after call after call, the prayer, the intention, the idea, activating this imagination, and life is peeling back the curtains, opening up for you, saying, hey, it's your show. What you want to do? This is your show. What do you see? When you're sleeping and when you're awake, you are full power. You are resting and rejuvenating, because remember, this rest and rejuvenation is a restoration and a growth card for you. So it's as you draw inward and you focus, that your energy then moves up in a straight, strong, healthy channel. It begins to magnify that generational intention. Okay, what do I want to see on that? Where are we at? What do I want to see? Let's get a little bit more on that intention. See if you want to share anymore, okay? And then we'll wrap it up and take it out of here. Cancer, any more about that intention that you want to share? Your imagination, your intention, you calling in the ages and the generation. What's going about with our generation here, Cancer? Okay, I want to see you move. So you have it, and if you're clear and you want to share, come on forward. Half the deck spilled out all the way across. Can I say like legits? Like legits. You see that? But I'm going to take the 3 that turn themselves upright. So this is what was coming in. What I'm going to look at first is this is what was coming in over this card. Over that card. Okay, it was these guys. So we've got creativity and we've got intense pressure. The intense pressure is, I'm seeing this as like the channel of time. Almost like the forces of life saying, it is time, we need you to call this forward and to come forward. This isn't just some happenstance event that you went from here to here. It's not at all. This was set on time, almost like the opening curtain, the curtain call, the time for you to arrive and to begin to step forward in your role to be the star of the show, Cancer, okay? And that's the bit of the pressure. You aren't the least bit pressured. I mean, look at your face here. Calm, cool, and collected. You are on point. You almost didn't get your clothes on, but that's fine too. So anyways, here you are. You're coming in with that pressure and you're like, hitting your mark, hitting your point, ready, right when the curtain's lifting. All right, and this is, ironically enough, I'm going to not show them all to you, but this is the energy, what all you're calling in. But it's through that creativity. You're remember how you were levitating and you were elevating? You're like, okay, let's move it on. Remember, this is the light emanating from you. Can y'all see that? This is the sun. It's a smiling sun, right? The light emanating from you, and it's awakening. What started out slow is emerging and going as the sun grows stronger, which we're now just going through Leo, but especially down here in the south, we have what we call Indian summer. So it is only beginning to crank up now, and it's leading to the season of the fire flower, which we just stepped into Virgo. So that's what we're going towards, and it will be the pinnacle by the time we reach Libra. Okay? So that would be a month from now. Let's see. Well, first, let's just touch on this one thing. So what came in landing at the High Priestess was form and structure. Remember that basis. Not basic like you so basic, but you're like, I can't stand being that mud, being that basic, being debased, being low, being in that area. I know who and what I am, and I'm ready to lift myself up, to begin to rise up, raise up. Okay, rise up myself or raise up this structure. And you want to be comfortable. Of course you do, Cancer. Hearth and home, right? You're like, my heart, look how cozy and comfortable my heart is. It is welcome and opening. And this is a reiteration of the Four Wands card, okay? So you got double power coming in on that, because that's what she says. I got money on my mind. And it doesn't just mean the kind that spends. It talks about the full-on prosperity and the sharing and the caring, okay? So we're going to do a quick little peek right here of what you're bringing in. You're bridging the gap. You know you want that one, baby. Cute and clever. Start forgiving. And then this has to do with that cosmic energy flowing in. As you flip the nozzle on the faucet, it's going to be able to rush in, and that will alleviate that pressure, because it's time. You are thirsty. Because I don't ever get thirsty in these things. Well, I don't say ever. Up to this point, you rarely ever see me take a sip in them, and I am feeling parched. You're like, I am ready to be refreshed. I'm ready. This forgiving has a lot to do with foresight, life giving unto you so that you can see and walk into it and step into your role in this life that you are here to live. Seeds of tomorrow, here today. You're welcoming in this cosmic power, the creative force of life, to merge with you and have this divine relationship. You're like, so what about my reputation? Let's put that behind me. I'm going to dance in this relationship because favor is smiling on me. I am the divine child. I am the chosen one. We all are. But what happens is it becomes activated when we wake up and we realize that, when we step into this energy, right? We transform from there to there and give ourselves the power and the permission to step into this and to recognize and acknowledge that we are where we are, so that we can get rolling, we can get going, right? And look what happens. The heaven is so fat, it begins to drip its dew down. Can you see that? Fat with dew. Talk about, and that's filling in the form there is what it's doing, coming and going. Reflection, being able to see yourself in your truth, no longer that those tethers, right? Those obligations, that conditional love. You're seeing it for the fullness of what it is. And you said, that is truth, baby. Truth, truth, truth. And there are two sides to every story. And you're like, I know this page. I'm ready to move on to the next chapter. And that brings in this thunderbolt, this imagination ball of ideas, all wound up into one, that as you begin to unfurl it, you get to enter into the experience, and that frees you up. You're totally set free from that, and not just this bondage has already been removed, but you begin to walk and live in this energy. All right, that is freedom to you. Okay, the full expression of your heart and life will reveal itself. George Washington Carver said, if you love something enough, it'll reveal its secrets to you. And that's what life is doing. That's why you're the divine golden child, right? You're the little darling. Any of us who begin to heed and respect and honor and love life. Let me see. Yeah. Here's this quote card I keep over here by my readings. Can you see it? I have found that if you love life, life will love you back. Arthur Rubinstein. Pretty fantastic, huh? I love seeing that come out here. And what has been gestating, it's been feeding, it's growing as you begin to go through this growth process. It's pretty rapid because remember that creativity card that we had? Here we have it coming in by Libra, that the fire flower is ignited and it's reached its blossom in full bloom. And then you're able to travel like the stairway to heaven, the full ladder, the coming and the going, the full-on confidence, total self-assurance, knowing that what you know and see, what you imagine, is yours here on earth as it is in heaven. Total 4D. And you're like, yep, Joy, that is the story about the crazy hair, y'all. It is much later in the day. By the time I got to step back to this, I've had company in town. You're like, that's the structure that we were calling in. All right, Cancer. I'm glad you like, I've made up my mind. I know what's going on. Thank you for getting the words out, Joy. To D to dot, there we go. And I guess I say high five, my friend, to D to da. There we go. Thanks for sharing this with me, and I look forward to hearing about it. Comments down below. Give it the thumbs up, like, and share. And if you haven't yet, click that subscribe button. We want to get this message out to our world to make it this bold, bright, beautiful place that we can step forward in the fullness of confidence and begin to change the narrative of what's been going on here, that this life will be full of love and joy for everyone and for all. Hey, talk to you soon. Bye.